Julius Craig with DeltaFlauge Outdoors podcast. I'm joined today by Hunter Hurst. Hey Hunter, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you? Long time no see.
Oh, been a while, man. Been doing good. So just give a little background. We met probably 3 years ago. Both of us hunting on WMA, maybe four.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 'Cause it's I think that was the last year I actually hunted that place. Thinking about going back this season. I was on a lease this year in the marsh, and I just way too expensive for the quality of deer we got. And one big deer I was hunting ended up killed by the neighbors. So I'm gonna be doing more public land this year. That's for sure.
That's usually how it works. You put all this work in, and somebody else gets them.
Yeah, yeah. I actually had that deer at 5 yards with a longbow, and I ended up it just didn't work out. But we can tell that story later, I guess.
5 yards with a longbow is like a mile.
I tell you what, I shot a doe this past season at 20 yards, and oh my god, that was a poke.
I mean, it was like slow motion getting that arrow there, huh?
Yeah, it was. I tell you what, it was intense. It was intense. That was for sure.
Oh, I can imagine. And yeah, I hunted the year we met. I hunted there. The next because it was opening a bow. The next year I made the hunt. The following year I didn't. So then last year I made the hunt. So this would be the 5th season since we met when this season starts back. And I'll probably make that weekend hunt over there myself this year. They did a lot of changing, like clear cutting and stuff, and then after Laura went through it, changed a lot of stuff over there.
Right.
Remember the pavilion you was camped under?
Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
Well, shucks. That's
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah, Laura took care of that last year, and this past year I went and it was the busiest I've ever seen it for opening weekend over there for bow that time of the year. There was probably 8 of us in that campground, 8 different camp sets, 2 to 3 people per camp. Then the other campground had, I think, 5 or 6 sets of people camping in it. And but it wasn't, that's a big place, so it wasn't like it was a lot of people.
Right.
The problem this past year, the area I wanted to hunt, the water was like 3 feet deep in there. I should have hiked it in and got to the high spots and hunted, but I didn't. And then my spot that I wanted to was like, and it's more of a rifle place, but I like it. Excuse me. They were clear cutting it, so it was like, damn. So ended up hitting like this backup spot that was kind of thrown together, and just couldn't get. We saw deer, we just couldn't get the distance we wanted. Like I think the closest shot I had would have been like 50, 55 yards, and it was on a deer, a decent buck, and I was like, man, I'm not going to triple this deer or blow any chances of killing him, so I wouldn't take the shot.
Right.
I let him go. But yeah, I plan on hunting there this year. So more than one.
They got some good deer in there, man. It's just I've hunted it quite a bit and been hunting that place to shoot since I was 13. Like I said, I kind of got away from it this past couple seasons and a few seasons. But I've never had a deer within bow range in that place with a bow in my hand.
Same here. Like I've bow hunted it 4 of the last 5. Well, this will be the 4th when September rolls around this year, will be the 4th time in 5 years. And the closest shot I've had there is probably, like I said, 50, 55 yards. Not something I was, willing to take. And then, but I was also hunting an area that I would rather rifle hunt because I have a really good area I like to bow hunt and just couldn't get into it. Then another place that's good bow hunting, they clear cut it. So it'll be hellacious rifle hunting this year. And I didn't even go back after the opening weekend of September there. I think I made like a total of like 10 days in the woods this year. Like I usually get that I usually have 4 to 6 days by the end of September. Like I had from September the 17th of this year to, this past season to February the 15th when it closes. I usually get 60 to 80 days in the woods. I think, like I said, I had a total of like 12, maybe 10 to 12. It was just insane. Like I just didn't get to hunt. And, I spent a little bit of time trying to hunt with my little boys on our private land. And, that's like having two elephants in a box stand. They're,
Yeah, I can imagine.
they're 9 and 7. So it's like, it's hellacious. And,
Right.
but it's a blast. Like even not see it, like whether I see a deer or not with them, it's just fun spending the time and doing it. And, then my baby was 18 months, and how old's you got a little boy, right?
Yeah, he'll be 1 March 26th.
So you got a few more years before you got the built-in pack mule, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Dad's got a little more time to himself. Try to get a few more trophies on the wall, hopefully.
Right, right. So yeah, that's like you said, you mainly did some private land hunting this year down in the marsh.
um, yeah, earlier in the season, and then I switched gears and did a lot of public land hunting. I always do a lot of public land hunting. I travel around a lot. I went up northeast Louisiana along the Mississippi River bottom, did some public land hunting up there. Seen a lot of deer, had some opportunities. I passed up a lot of deer this year. I only got in range of one shooter buck. Uh, and that was that 10 point I had out in the marsh. Probably, man, he's probably 115, 120 inch deer. He was an absolute hammer for that area. A lot of people, when you say that 115 inch deer, that ain't nothing. Well, that is like we'll just say this: if you kill a 130 in South Louisiana coastal marsh, I mean, you pretty much killed a Boone and Crockett. you know, uh, so that 115, 120 inch deer, he was a stud. He would have been my biggest marsh deer. Um, and like I said, I had him. So he showed up on trail camera the night before. So I went in that morning and checked the trail camera. Seen he was there. First time I ever got pictures of him. Was like, holy crap, that is a good deer. And so I feed out in the marsh. I don't really ever hunt over corn piles if I can help it. I mean, if I got a buck daylighting at a corn pile, by all means, I'll go sit on it. I don't like doing that, but I will sit on it. But so what I did is it was on a levee, and I put the corn pile on the end of the levee, and around that time of the year, the deer are rutting. They rut early out there. When the season opens September 15th, you'll start finding a lot of rubs. Uh, Not a whole lot of scrapes because there just ain't much dry ground out there to find scrapes. So, but they're getting in a pre-rut. Pre-rut September 15th. You can count on it. There'll be some pre-rut activity more than likely going on. So, anyways, I had several does showing up, so I knew he was, going over there, scent check and whatnot. So I set up on the end of that levee and back back towards the other way, the opposite end of the levee from the corn pile, probably about 300 yards from it, I guess, maybe not even that far. And then it just peters out into the marsh. So uh, this deer, so man, it was windy. You got a northeast wind, got a front blowing in that day. Now it wasn't real cold, but we had a good north wind blowing, so I knew the deer would be on their feet. And man, I sat. I don't remember what time I got set up, but I got right out of my boat and pretty much set up maybe 10 yards from my boat, and it was right before 2 o'clock, like 1:54 in the middle of the day, and I just happened to look to my right down the levee, and I see this skinny tree just whipping back and forth and it kind of baffled me. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? I'm looking, it's real thick where I'm at. I can't hardly see. There's a lot of underbrush, And so I'm looking at this tree, and I mean, it is just whipping back and forth. I'm like, oh, that ain't no squirrel, and that ain't the wind. And then all of a sudden, I see his rack just, going up and down this tree, and I'm like, oh my God, that's him. That is the deer. Night before I got the picture, and man, he makes a beeline straight for me. And Joyous, I was so low in this tree, I'm in water, so I walked up to the tree. Uh, my stand was so low, my platform was so low, I literally put my longbow on the platform, so about 7 feet, climbed up into the stand and hung it on the bow hanger. So, and he's going to walk right underneath me. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, man, this is going to be a hard shot. I'm going to make this. And it's probably a good thing how it turned out. But anyways, he walks. I was expecting a deer to walk. So I'm facing down the levee. I was expecting a deer to walk to my left. Well, this deer walks the edge of the canal, and he's going to walk right underneath me on the right-hand side of my tree. Well, my boat is parked right there. Had I moved my boat another 10 yards down the canal, I probably would have ended up getting a shot on that deer. But anyway, so he comes walking in. I mean, just on a mission, he just head up, steadily walking. And right when he gets in front of my boat, the wind, the wind's rocking it back and forth, and he just stops and looks at it. And then he turns broadside. I got one little bitty window to shoot through. I'm at full draw. I'm pulling through the back tension. I'm about to release the arrow, and then he just takes off trotting, man, into the marsh. And, that was a done deal. It was into the hunt right there. And I chased him for a while after that. He was just could not pattern him. I mean, we had trail cameras everywhere. He was actually showing up on camera on a buddy of mine's family's lease, like over a mile away, across a blacktop road way on the other side of the marsh. And in fact, I hunted him all day the next day out of that stand, hoping, because he didn't bust me. He just seen the boat. So I was like, man, maybe he might come back through here, And the next afternoon, they ended up getting a picture of him all the way on that other property. And then like another day or two later, he was back at my corn pile. And so he was all over the place, and he ended up getting killed. Like, it was probably close to a mile onto the other property where he ended up getting killed at. So that was disheartening. But super happy for the guy, man. He's that guy who killed him. He's an older fella, and he's killed a lot of big deer out in that marsh. Killed one of the biggest deer I've ever seen come out of some of that marsh down there. So I'm super happy for the guy. It couldn't have happened to a better guy, in my opinion. So
It's amazing how far deer will actually travel, and a lot of people don't realize that. And it's like, if you look at one of the studies out of Mississippi, that they have a tracking collar on a buck, and the way he travels in the last few years. And I'll look the stuff up and send it to you if I can find it. And it's crazy. This dude travels like he crosses the Mississippi River and comes from Mississippi back over to Lake Louisiana and hangs out part of the year. Then goes back across the river. Like, he is crossing the Mississippi River between Louisiana and Mississippi. I mean, it's not a small feat that he's doing.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen that. Wasn't it like 3 times he crossed the Mississippi River?
Every year he does it like 3 times. He's done it like the past 3 years, I think, or something. It's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, that Mississippi River is just, it's amazing he makes it.
Right?
Like, to do it like, just like it's no big deal, regular thing. I'm just going to cross the Mississippi River.
Yeah,
that's insane.
And some of the times he's done it, the water's been extremely high. So it's like, it's got way worse current and everything. And it's like, that dude's in great shape, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane what a deer do and what they go through, and like how much they travel and do. And people don't like. I had a lease in Kentwood area probably 8-10 years ago. I don't really remember. And we had a one-eyed buck on camera, and big, like 9-point one-eyed. And one of my buddies had a place like 6 miles from there. They ended up killing that deer 6 miles from where I had him on camera. I would have him on camera like every 3 to 4 days, and he would have them like, it was a rotation. About every 3 days after I had him, he would have them, and he was rotating between like this big circle, like basically like a big old old tomcat or whatever, just and they'll roam, and that's what this buck was doing. And he ended up getting killed. And he was I want to say, it's been so long, like a 9-point, but I know it was the same deer because he was one-eyed, and we both had pictures, and we compared pictures, and the same deer. And it's like, dude, there's no way that dude should be that far, but he was. And it wasn't even in rut that he was killed. Like, he was. I was like, if he's traveling this far normal, what's he doing for rut? Like, how far is this dude going then? And
right.
So it's like, you never know what they're gonna do. Like, you can pattern them to an extent. Then, like you said, he noticed your boat. That changed him up completely. it's that one time, like they talk about, like, it's like, I don't know if you watch much of Dan Infault's stuff,
Yeah,
and,
I'd absolutely do.
he talks about, like that one thing, that one time that deer sees something different, it's changed. He's gonna change his behavior off of that one thing. That's how
Yep.
he gets to being a mature buck. And it's like, that's, I'm like, man, I don't, it's like you get to watching this stuff and you're like, holy crap, like, and it's like just the little things. And it's like, it's like, like going in, making noise, like putting a climber up, trying to get the right place. And it's like, you just, you never know, a lock on whatever it is you're trying to hunt out of with sticks and everything. And it's like, and that's brought me to, we did a video today. I'm waiting for one of my buddies to send it back over to me with, well, it'll go on the YouTube channel. It's, of us, one of my other buddies has a, give me a second, I'm gonna look at it. He has the, see, Ty. He has the Latitude Method 2 XL saddle with the ultimate one stick setup from Eastern Woods Outdoors.
Yes.
Dude, it's legit. Like, I was been curious about saddles because, like, I do a lot of public land hunting like you, and excuse me, and I was like, man, I don't know, like, I don't know. And it's like I went over there and messed with that with him today, and we did a video of him showing us how it works and everything, and like I climbed with it and everything, and he actually rappels back down, which is, I'm like, I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to do that yet. Like, you know, he, to me that's a little different. Like, I'm like, I was cool coming back down. Like, he has the three, the three ladder, the extender, like the 3-step extender.
Right.
He has that on his one ladder that has like the platform on it and the ladder. So like,
Right.
would you hang it one time, and I mean, I'm like 5'7", he's like closer to 6 foot. So one, like obviously he's gonna start off almost 6 inches higher than I would right off the bat. But two moves, like he put it on the first time, moved it once, and when he tied back off that time, he was literally like 14, 15 feet in the air, and
Mm-hmm.
with no noise. Pretty simple. I went up it and he rappelled back down, shows how, and I went up it and went back down it just, normal, like using the rope extender and everything. I'm like, it's not bad. Like, I thought it was gonna be like, you know, tremendous, like this, I thought it was gonna be something hard. After I
Yeah.
did, I'm like, dude, like, why have I not been doing this? This is like extremely different and easy.
Yeah. So I'm running the Latitude Method 2 as well. I don't have the XL. I'm got a skinny waist, but I'm running the Latitude Method 2, and I got the Eastern Woods Outdoors Ultimate Stick as well with a 2-step sewn in aider. And I'm
He had,
repelling out
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm repelling out of the tree as well. I have 40 foot of
So you got the whole little kit then, like him, 40 foot. Then he uses like his like detached ropes, like this little like pinkish orange thing.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you have a retrieval line, which is
Yeah.
they call it Dynaglide or something. I think it's basically Amsteel, a thinner Amsteel.
Yep.
Um and I got a carabiner tied to it. And then I have my lineman's belt. So I have 2 dump pouches. I'm running a Latitude Method dump pouches as well. I have my lineman's belt in my left pouch with a Ropeman 1 with auto locking carabiners, and on my right hand side, I have my my 40 foot of 9mm repel line, and I'm running the Mad Rock Safeguard belay device. And man, Joyous, I wish I'd have found this years ago. And look, I've always been against saddle. Not, I wasn't against it, but I was like, I'm not sold on this.
You were
And I
skeptical like me until you really got to, you
Yeah,
know.
and so I hunt the marsh a lot, and a lot of times, like I said, that one tree I almost killed that buck out of. I was 7 feet in a tree, and I'm still skeptical about using a saddle in the marsh because a lot of times, I always got to. I think I can get away with it though, as long as I got my ghillie top, which I usually bring anyways, because I'm just hunting so low in a tree, and a lot of times I'm in a little skinny old tree, and I just don't have a lot of cover. So I strongly rely on my ghillie top to conceal my movement. Um, but so I'm gonna try it in the marsh this year, though. I'm hell bent on proving that it can be done. I've been saying for a long time that I don't think it's gonna be an ideal way to hunt in the marsh, but I think I'm gonna spend this year in the marsh and try to prove that it can be done, and even low in a tree and kill some deer with it, hopefully. But man. So I was very skeptical, and I watched videos on it. I was like, man, this just looks like a lot of shit, you know. So, and so we went to hunt that public land northeast Louisiana I was talking about. And one of my buddies, he started one sticking this year. He had the Eastern Woods Outdoors, ultimate one stick, rappel line, and all the whole 9 yards I got. He was running a different belay device. I think he had a Bill Birdie, and that's what I ended up getting at first. But I only climbed once with it. Problem with the Bill Birdie is when you put slack in your tether, uh, it can just slide down the tether. It's spring loaded, so it automatically loosens up. If you fall, it'll catch you, but it's just kind of sketchy, you know. I don't want to
Yeah,
be.
it's gonna be more of a jerk catch, like
Yeah. I
it,
don't want to.
like
I
you
don't
can
even want to.
slide some.
Yeah, I don't even want to feel like I'm falling, you know. So,
Yeah,
but man, I watched him get up the tree in a matter of
it's
two
minutes.
minutes. Like, I mean, it was nothing. Like, it was so effortless and quiet. And in
Hmm.
2 seconds, he's on the ground, you know. And it's like, oh, dude, yeah, I got to do that. I don't even want to know how much I invested in it right off the bat. Like, I hadn't done the math. I don't think I want to do the math. It's expensive. It is, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's a very good tool in the toolbox, and I think it's something that, well, especially for somebody who hunts the piney woods, I've gotten away from it these last few years. I kind of quit hunting it. I'd rather hunt swamps and marsh, and I like that. You know, I hate looking at pine trees. I think it's the most boring thing ever. So, and I just took a long time. You know, I always would hunt them oak bottoms on that public land, and I just never would see anything. And you know, the more I learn and listen, the more I'm finding out, you know, how to hunt them piney woods. So I think I want to give it a try this year. But so what I'm getting at is I think the saddle and repelling like that, because a lot of those places, if you're going to get on them clear cuts and stuff, you know, or them 5-year-old clear cuts, you know, you got to get up real high in a tree. So a lot of people rely on a climber to be able to see down into that underbrush.
Hmm.
And so with a saddle and one sticking, you can get, I think with 40, I hadn't done it yet, but for what I'm hearing, with 40 foot of rope, you can get 35 foot in a tree. I
That's
mean,
high.
I don't see where, I don't think I'll ever get that high. I don't think I'll ever have the need to get that high, but it's there if I need it. And man, just, I really hate, so with a lock on, I always ran 3 sticks, 2-step sticks with, the Lone Wolf cable waders.
Hmm.
So I'd run 3 sticks and I'd run a Millennium M7 lock on. Love the stand, man. Super comfortable. You know, light. Maybe not as light as some, but it was light enough. You know, really enjoyed that. I thought that was the shit when I got a hold of that from a climber. You know, I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
this is bomb. And then now, you know, like I said, and I promoted it for a long time. Everybody I talked to that was hunting a climber, I was like, dude, you ought to try some sticks and a lock on. It's going to change the game, you know. And I killed some deer out of it. I killed quite a few deer out of it, and I was able to get in the tree pretty quiet with it. But I found that I wasn't as consistent at getting in a tree quiet like I can a saddle and one stick. Not now. Now I'll tell you this: when I first started my Eastern Woods Outdoors, they were kind of backed up, so it took a little while. So I ended up getting a Predator XL platform,
Hmm.
and super nice platform. I like it. But three sticking with the platform and then doing a saddle, I find with a saddle there is a little more adjustments you got to make at times, especially just starting out. There's a learning curve. You got to figure out how to adjust this thing. I don't know if you're hunting out of a saddle yet or not.
No, I probably in the next few weeks I'll go on and order whichever one I'm gonna run with. I'm looking at the company East what we talking about Eastwood whatever.
Yeah,
They sell the a saddle called Tree Woods Tree Saddle,
yeah,
but they're in the middle of rebranding their name. They're having to change it because the word tree saddle is actually what do you call that when you not prototyped somebody got a you know a
a patent or
yeah
something like, yeah,
yeah
yeah,
on the word tree saddles. So they got a cease and desist using that name, which it was Woods Tree Saddle. They're out of Florida, and the guy was a lineman for years and everything, and like he tried saddles back in the '90s, like when it early '90s, and didn't like them, and he got away from them. And he switched back to them in the last few years and makes his own. And if you go to Eastman's Wood, you know what I'm trying to say. Where
Yeah,
you're,
Eastern Woods Outdoors.
yeah, go to their web. If you go to their website and you look at their saddles that they offer, three of the four saddles they offer are actually his saddles. And he's actually one day next week, him and I think Monday, we're gonna do a podcast together and record and everything and talk about his stuff. I spent about 30 minutes on the phone with him the other day talking, and a real cool guy. I was texting with him earlier because like after seeing today, I've watched videos and everything, but seeing like in person how it works, just piqued my interest and being able to mess with it. But it's like I had more questions because like Ty was like, look, the guy showing us his, and he's like, look, I'm running an 8 millimeter on this, but you should be running a 9 millimeter. He's like, I'm doing it a few ways that, do as I say, not as I'm doing. Mine's not, I've got to change stuff. He's like, I'm not 100% like, you know, and like,
Right.
he's like, I don't, he's like, I'm running 8 millimeter rope. You should be running a 9. He's like, to run this style of a sender, you need a 9. I'm running an 8 through it. It's not the safest thing to do, and I'm like, okay, like, and that's what he talked about in the video. And it's like, at least he's honest. Like he's, about it. Like, hey, do as I say, not as I do. Like, this is not the best way to do it, but it works. It's like, I get
Yeah.
that. And so I text with Robert, the owner of Woods Tree Saddles, earlier. And when I was messaging with you, saying, setting everything up this evening, I was messaging with him, and he gives me this long, like, hey, there's this style rope, there's a, like all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is like, what I was like, something I thought was gonna be easy is turning into like getting complicated because now I've got too many choices. And
Yeah.
he's like, it's not bad, dude. He's like, it's like finding a rifle. You get your rifle and it shoots a certain ammo and you just stick with it. He's like, we'll get you lined out and you stick with that and don't change from it because it works for you. He's like, once you find what works for you, set it up to work for you. Don't keep changing it because then you'll get to a point where you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. And it was like, but he'll, like I said, like he builds his own saddle, so that'd be cool to have him come on. Like I said, and I'll be recording that one day next week. I don't know exactly when I'm gonna publish it, but it'd be cool because like we'll have somebody that straight up builds saddles and sells them to have answer any question we got. So whatever questions you have that you can think of between now and then, text them to me, and we'll put them on the spot with them because I got a bunch myself. I know that. And he was in that's so but going back, to get to see it and everything, like I said, he runs pretty much the same setup you're running. And I've seen guys run the several stick method, like you talking about 4 sticks with like um a stelp, the stelp extra, the extra stelp in there with the rope and everything. And I'm
Right.
like, man, that 4 steps isn't exactly, it's not heavy, but it's not light, but it's a pain in the ass to carry that many steps and like ladder pieces in there. Pretty much like you're not getting by. Like I carry, like, the reason I'm looking at it and like I really like the one step is because, like you said, hunting the managements that we hunt, there's a lot of pine on it. You got to get a certain way. Well, you get to some of these pines and the base of them's too big to get a climber around. So then you're
Yep.
what, sticking your climber up 4 or 5 foot in the air to latch it on, climbing your ass into it, then getting what, 10 foot up a tree, 20 foot up a tree, then having to stop, tighten the top up, sit in the top, pick the bottom up, tighten it up because the tree's gotten smaller and it's looser. And
Yeah.
it's
It's a
like,
pain in the ass.
it's a pain in the ass. And think about how unsafe it is. Even if you have them tied together,
Yep.
you're completely unhooking it from the tree. Like, it's like, we all do it. We've all done it our whole life. So like I've hunted out of the climber since I was 12, 11 or 12, and I'm 37.
Yeah. I almost fell out of a tree when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
I started hunting out of a climber when I was about the same age, 12, 13 years old. Started hunting out of a climber. And actually, the same WMA we were talking about that we met on when I was 15 years old, I was rifle hunting one day. And back in them days, we didn't wear safety harnesses, it was
No,
just you get up a tree and hunt. And I was taught that you had to be high, you got to get up high, you got to get up high in that tree to be able to kill deer. And
the
so,
way I was done, I had like a 20-foot rope that I tied to my, gun or bow or whatever I was bringing up, right?
mhm,
And when my rope got tight, that was how high I needed to be. That rope
right.
better not be loose. It was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well,
it's like now you look at it and it's like, dude, like I said earlier, my oldest son's 9. I'm like, man, I wouldn't, 3 more years. I wouldn't trust that dude to get up in the air on a climber. What the hell? Like,
No,
you know,
yeah, yeah. I look
so,
back at the shit I did and was like, damn, that was stupid.
yeah, you look
uh,
back and it's like, I mean, I'm guessing my parents love me, but man, like, you're like, really? Like, but it was normal then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But
Um, and my dad he did kind of fuss at me a lot. He's like, you ought to be wearing a safety harness, but the safety harnesses and
back
we
then,
didn't. Well, they were there. They had them, but shit, Dad wasn't gonna buy me no $100 safety harness.
yeah, they,
They came with one. You need to wear the one that it came with, son. And it just nobody wore them. No,
no.
nobody I knew wore a safety harness when we were using climbers, and the ones they came with were absolute trash. They would get all twisted up,
Twisted,
and it
they
was
were
just a pain in the
uncomfortable.
ass.
Yeah.
And more trouble than it's worth. So just man, especially back in them days, I was lazy. I didn't want to fight all this shit. Uh, so yeah, man, I got 30 foot up in that tree though, and it was windy, old skinny pine tree, and I went to turn around to sit down, and the whole bottom of my stand. Thank God I tied them together.
It
I almost
twisted.
tied it. I almost tied it too long though, Julius. So when I went to turn around and sit down, the bottom platform actually it slipped and it swiveled all the way around to the backside of the tree, and I was left there holding myself up, facing the tree. And dude, it felt like a lifetime. Thank God I was somewhat strong guy, and I was able to hold myself up. But I tell you what, man, there was a time where I was like, man, I don't know if I can hold myself up any longer. And I really contemplated on like trying to shimmy myself around and sit down in the top part and take a break. But I knew in my head, if I do this, I'm never going to get down. Like somebody's going to have to come rescue me.
Mhm.
So I toughed it out and I just kept trying to get my foot. I finally got my foot in one of the loops and was able to get this platform back up and get a bite on it. But I mean, I got my toe of my lacrosse knee boot into that loop, like barely got that sucker back up. And after that, it was like, and I hunted at them for a few more years, and I started wearing a safe. Well, I'd got a lone wolf hand climber, and so there's no shooting rail or anything around it. And I was like, oh no, I'm definitely not climbing a tree with this thing without a safety harness. So, and man, I tell you what, I'd hunt 2 or 3 days. You climb 2 trees a day with that thing.
Cool, yeah.
And by day 3, I done felt like I done wrestled with a freaking grizzly bear, dude. I mean, like, because you got to with that climber, you would have to put your forearms across the seat, hold the back of it, and pretty much put all the weight of your sternum on the edge of the platform, and then, shimmy your bottom up. And I actually had to put some padding around it because it was hurting my sternum so damn bad. But like I said, after day 3, I didn't want to get in a freaking tree no more. I felt like I done got in a fight with a damn bear. I was like, when I got a hold of a lock on, I was like, oh man, this is a freaking breeze. This is the shit. Where's this been my whole life?
Look, talking about bears, right? Earlier in September, same wildlife management we talking about. Um, I I tied my top and bottom together, and my rope was too long, so they slipped apart. So, but I was almost at the bottom of the tree, so it wasn't too bad, right? But
Right.
so I'm dealing with that. Get out of the tree, done bounced around off the ground and everything. I get to my truck. My cousin was hunting with me. My phone's like blowing up. I'm like pulling it out of my pocket, looking at. It, I'm like, answer. I'm like, what, dude? Like he was literally like 300 yards from me. I'm like in the woods. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I said, you shoot one or something? No, no, come get me. Come get you. And like you're not supposed to drive a vehicle down the handicap trail, like all this, right? And he's down on
Right.
the handicap trails in the woods. I'm like, what do you mean, come get you? He's like, drive down here and get me. I'll pay the ticket if you get a ticket. I'm like, dude, why can't you walk? Like, why are you being lazy? He said, there's a bear. And I'm like, there's no bear, dude. It's a hog. Like, you're confused. He's like, no, I know what a bear sounds like. Like, and he's freaking out. Like, he swears he saw a bear and was like scared shitless up that tree. And he would not come down. I had to like go down there and get him. Like, hey, dude, come on. And he's like, and I'm laughing. He's like, it's not a hog, man. It's a bear. I'm like, there's no way it's a bear. I was like, and it would be gone. And like, he swears it's a bear. And like, he's like, you jinxed us because we pulled up and we were about to go in the woods. And, it's got the sign there about the bear and the hog, looking alike.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I've hunted here since I was 10 years old. I have never seen a bear here. We come out and he's like, "You jinxed us. We saw a bear." I'm like, "We didn't see a bear. I've still never seen a bear at this place." Like, and, we're laughing
Yeah.
about it, but like he swears he saw a bear and was like scared to death. And I'm like, "Dude, like that bear is like not gonna hurt you. Like, come on, man. Like, you scared he's gonna get up in that climber with you?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't know what he was gonna do."
Yeah, yeah. That property I hunt northeast Louisiana, it's flipping full
I was
of them.
gonna
In
say it's
fact,
full of bears.
yeah, I got a video. Actually, it's the first one I ever seen. Man, I heard the racket coming. I'm like, what in the hell is that? And I look over, and sure enough, big old black bear comes walking across the slough about 30 yards from him. Like, in fact, the same day, it was a funny story. Buddy of mine was hunting with us up there, and he pulled a sandwich out of his bag, and all of a sudden, this freaking big old, he had a big white blaze on his chest. This bear gets in front of him. He had a video. The bear just stands up, front legs just hanging on his side like a freaking human, and just looking at him in the tree. He did that shit like 4 or 5 times. I thought it was the most funniest thing. But
He can smell that sandwich, huh?
oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I want a piece of that. So end of the hunt comes. It's dark outside, and he's never been around bears either. So he's like kind of spooked. He's like, dude, I'll just start making all the racket I can, beating my sticks together, dropping my stand, making as much
That
noise as
don't
I
bother
can.
him.
Yeah. So he gets out the tree and he's packing all his shit up. Well, he hears something in the bushes like 10, 15 yards from him. And so he's like, holy shit. So he turns his headlight on, or he turns his headlight towards the sound. Sure enough, the bear's like that close, 10, 15 yards from him in the bushes, just looking at him. So he flipped shit, like, holy shit, starts screaming at the bear. But man, them things are like big raccoons. They're just curious. And,
Yep.
in that area, there's no natural predators for them. And really wish they'd open a season on them. I'm
Well,
really dying to stick one.
did
But
you read? Did you read that where one of our elected officials proposed a season?
I seen that.
It's and but they're talking about they're not gonna be like they doubted a pass, and even if they do pass it, wildlife and fisheries. This is coming from wildlife and fisheries. This part, even if they can get it passed, there's a lawsuit involved already because they say that wildlife and fisheries lied about the amount of bears that are really in Louisiana, and it's only half of what they claim it is. Yeah, there's a bunch with it. Like you got like the bear, the bear PETA people. I guess I don't really know what they call themselves, but like
Yeah.
so it's a big debacle with that and everything. And it's like our state's got I think we could have a draw bear season, and even if they only gave out 25 tags for the season for the first season, that's that's a lot of bear.
Yeah.
And it's like 15, 25 tags for the first few years and see what happens. You can either cancel it after that, because I mean, even if it's like the way Oklahoma does theirs is every morning you get up and you got your bear tag that you buy. Every morning before you go in the woods, you have to call and see if the quota's been filled.
Right.
And
Oh wow.
if the quota hasn't been filled, say they're at bear, say they have 100 bears that they can kill that year, and they're at bear 99 when you call. It hasn't been filled. You can go hunt, right?
Right.
Say we kill, like, we're not in the same group, but you kill, I kill, like 4 or 5 bears are killed that day. It doesn't matter because we all were on bear 99. But it's
Right.
like once it gets to like bear 100, and I don't know what their exact numbers are, but I know they have it. When it gets to that number, it's cut off. It doesn't matter if the season's still got 2 more weeks. Season's over. Sorry,
Yeah.
the tag you paid for is no good anymore.
Yeah. And that's
And it's
fair.
like that's fair, and it's like I get that, and it's like they and it's like that's how they do theirs, and like you can be a non-resident and still get a bear tag and go hunt. And it's like if you want to, and then it's like you're better off to do it in bow season because you got a better opportunity of not hitting the quota. So it's like,
Right.
and it's like it's pretty cool how they do theirs, and but it's like Arkansas has a shitload of bear, and their season's pretty open, and it's like Oklahoma's got bear in it, like where the Ozark National, not the Ozark, Ozark National Forest, whatever that goes
Yeah.
across. The bear, like Arkansas's, is loaded, and where it goes across into Oklahoma around like McCurtain County and all that is slap full of bears because of Arkansas's amount of bears.
Right.
And it's like, and another thing, like I know we're getting way off of here, but like what's cool about Oklahoma, West Oklahoma. I don't know if you've ever been out to Oklahoma. West Oklahoma kind of reminds you of like being in Kansas or Nebraska. You know, like the open fields and like small shrubbery and everything. And they're actually starting to get a lot of the exotics from Texas are starting to migrate into like Oklahoma and everything.
Right.
So and okay, I don't know what happened. Like it just told me my internet's unstable, whatever that means.
Yeah, yeah, you cut out there for a second.
Yeah, good old, I can't call names on, because I don't want to get like sued by the company that provides it, but you pay quite a fee for it and it never works right. And, you know, so, but, yeah, I know I got kind of sidetracked there. But yeah, that's,
Hello.
hey, you there? Hey, hey, Hunter, can you hear
Hey,
me?
yeah, I can
Hey,
hear you now.
my my internet's starting to go in and out sitting here at my house. I don't know what it is, so I guess we're gonna have to try and wrap this one up so we actually get something out of it. But I hate that, but technical difficulties on my end. So it was great having you on. We're gonna recap this again and do another one anytime you want to. Just holler at me. You're more than welcome to be part of it. If you're going to hunt up there this year in September, we'll talk. We're gonna talk way before then, but I definitely, you're welcome to camp with me, and we'll hunt it up, man.
Hell yeah, George. Sounds great to me, man. I think I will. I think I'll be out there, so we'll definitely get together.
All right, sounds good. It was good talking to you, Hunter. I'm a touch bases with you later. Like I said, it's still kicking on here saying internet unstable, so I'm gonna wrap this one up. I apologize, and we'll talk later, bud. Good catching up.
Yeah, you too, man. Y'all take it easy.
You too, buddy.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.